Greetings, everyone. Oh my goodness, we're excited to have with us today the Omega Man, the Omega Man. We're excited about what the information that they have. We're talking about test-based nutrition, the Balance Oil, and we're so excited about you getting this information. Listen, I'm telling you, this guy is a giant in the Balance Oil arena. So, Stuart, we just want you to just introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about the test-based nutrition and the Balance Oil, and why it's so important for all of us to be test and not guess.
Well, thank you, Apostle Alvin Deal, for having me on your show. It's such an honor to work with you and to get to speak to your audience. My name is Stuart Tomk, and I've been in the dietary supplement space since 1988. I've helped to sell over $1 billion worth of dietary supplements. I was the global educator and brand ambassador for market leader, omega-3 market leader, Nordic Naturals. And I've had the great privilege to travel all over the world to interact with the top omega-3 scientists and to really educate people about what we're talking about today, test-based nutrition. Yes. And what that means is that we all actually need to test. Here's a little at-home blood spot test. This is what we're talking about.
Wow.
We need to test our own omega-6/3 balance. So, Apostle, if you don't mind, I kind of want to just back up and get everybody totally acquainted with the number that we're measuring, okay?
Yes, sir.
So this is an at-home, is that okay?
That's great.
Okay, so this is an at-home blood spot test. Don't be afraid. You don't need a vein puncture. You don't need an appointment with a doctor. This is just like a little blood sugar test. And you can do this in the privacy of your own home. It's very simple to do. You prick your finger, you put 2 drops of blood on the paper, and they ship it out to Oslo, Norway, and they tell you the most important number that you don't know that you should know. Let me explain what it is. So imagine my left fist here. This is omega-6. Omega-6 comes from seeds and nuts and seed oils and animal products and animals that eat grains. Omega-6 is essential. Your body doesn't make it. However, it's pro-inflammatory. You have to have inflammation. Omega-3, pretend this is omega-3, comes from green leafy vegetables or algae or fish that eat algae or fish oil or cod liver oil. And we want the pro-inflammatory omega-6 and the anti-inflammatory omega-3 in balance. That's why we call it a balance test. Now, most people are so far out of balance. The average person has 25 times more omega-6 than omega-3. Wow. And that's what this test measures. What does that mean to you? What that means to the average person is if you have 25 times more omega-6 than omega-3 and you're out of balance on a cellular level, what that means is that each and every one of our cells are deficient in the anti-inflammatory omega-3s. Which means we have too many omega-6s, and that's why we say we're out of balance. What does this affect? It negatively affects our mental health. The brain is a supercomputer made out of fat. If you are out of balance, like most people, your brain is working at a fraction of the speed that it could operate at. Number 2, if you're this far out of balance, too much omega-6, not enough omega-3, then your cells, if you remember in high school biology, right, that little lipid bilayer that goes around every cell, then that cell membrane becomes thick and sticky and rigid. What does that mean? The nutrients that you're taking, if you're eating organic food, if you're taking dietary supplements, and your cell membranes are locked up and thick and sticky, nutrients don't get in as effectively, waste products build up and don't come out. You get cellular constipation. And as a result, this negatively affects our entire body. So this is a test that tells you, me, Alvin, Apostle Alvin, how good our diet is and whether or not we're in the inflammatory danger zone or safe zone. This number that this test provides is more predictive of your current and future health outcomes than about any biomarker we've ever had. Wow. And most people fail the test, and that's why I was so excited to talk to your audience today.
Well, I'll tell you, Stuart, that is awesome. And listen, People, I've taken the test, the home-based test is just a little prick on your finger, put those 2 blood spots and send it off in what I call a bio bag. They already placed the envelope there for you. So I'm telling you, since I've taken the test, Stuart, and been on the balance oil, I got my results back 18-1 out of balance. So I'm in the danger zone. So thankfully that I started the balance oil before I got my results back. So, and waiting on my results, I'm excited because now I got my results back. But guess what? It's 18-1. But I do believe right now I'm closer to maybe 9-1 or maybe 7-1. Why? Because of how I feel. Listen, I play basketball a lot, Stuart, and playing basketball, the day after, oh my goodness, how to roll yourself out of the bed and then, how to work through the aches and the pains for that week. And then you go back at it again. But since I've been taking the balance oil, I didn't have to raise myself out of bed. Don't have any pain. And I'm not kidding you. It has been just so exciting to have that kind of strength. And my cognitive ability, he's talking about the brain cells and how that it affects my cognitive ability, my cruelty, all those things that help me to be a better person. Stuart, I'm a living testimony of how this has worked for me. Would you share why, when you talk about the cells being hardened and the nutrients not getting in and the toxins not getting out, why is that important to the well-being of our body?
Because we're made of 37 trillion cells, and we are only as healthy as our cellular health. This simple at-home test is actually a proxy for systemic inflammation because the red blood cells take 120 days to turn over completely. I mean, they're created every day and then they die, and they're born and they die. But after 120 days, they turn over completely. And I'm sure we all remember cod liver oil. Many of us do, right? Our parents or grandparents fed us cod liver oil. And then when we were adults, right, we stopped taking it. I'm sure we've all heard that fish is brain food, which is true. But the standard American diet is so loaded with omega-6s from the seed oils. Think about how ubiquitous they are in the diet. Safflower, sunflower, cottonseed oil, soybean oil consumption in America is up 1,000-fold from 1909 to 1999.
Wow.
What does that mean? It's working against optimal cellular health. So with too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3, inflammation turns on. This is very important. Imagine if you cut yourself and you don't clot your blood, you bleed to death and you die. So you need inflammation. However, if you've got this much omega-6 and this much omega-3, my score was just as bad as yours. And I was the spokesperson for the biggest fish oil company on earth. Why is that? Because there are many things that deplete our omega-3s, like stress, not just our diet, lifestyle things. If you've got any issues in your body, right, pains and aches and so forth, that's your body will be using its omega-3s to help put out the fire and bring you back into balance. So I think the most critical thing to remind people is we're talking about the most modifiable risk factor. What do I mean by that? Correcting this imbalance and getting back into balance is equally as important for your health as quitting smoking, quitting drinking, and exercise.
Wow.
So when people ask me the question, how will this help me? If you have any inflammation anywhere in your body and you have not taken this test, you are missing the most important number that you need to know for health and longevity. And just like Alvin said, just like Apostle Alvin said, he started taking the balance oil. We're going to talk about why it's not fish oil, why it's different. And you can already feel it. Wasn't it a couple of weeks and you started to notice the difference?
That's right. That was about a week. I started noticing the difference because I play basketball every week. And then my cognitive ability, it's just amazing. And this is no hype at all. This is my true testimony. And I'm so excited. That's why I'm so wanting to get this message out there to so many people, because so many people out of balance got so much inflammation in their bodies, and inflammation is a precursor to disease and all type of ailments. So we need to Go ahead on, Stuart. Go ahead and tell the story.
No, you're totally right. That's why sometimes when people hear this story, it seems like, how could this be true? That's why I always go back to the cell membrane. If you're made of 37 trillion cells, and we're only as healthy as our cells. So by getting back into balance, it supports your brain. And just like you said, cognitive function, executive function. There was a study that was just published in the Journal of Violent and Aggressive Behavior. Anyone can look this up. The Journal of Violent and Aggressive Behavior and omega-3. And it said that omega-3 was a cheap, fast, and safe and effective way to help reduce aggression and violence up to 30%. It's the kind of thing that we need to put into the drinking water. What we've added to this conversation is something called balance oil. We've all heard of omega-3. We've all heard of fish oil, but I want everybody to know that the product that we're talking about, the balance oil, what you're looking at here, this is not fish oil.
Not fish
It's
oil.
balance oil. So I want to explain the difference, because I get a lot of people that message me, call me, they watch my interviews, and they say, well, I already take omega-3. Great. If you already take omega-3, then you take the test. And if you pass, which both Alvin and I failed, and many of my friends failed, if you pass, well, the company will give you back your money and let you keep the oil. It's pretty rare.
Yes.
But I want everybody to know that this is what I call a Mediterranean diet in a bottle. Every bottle is equal to 300 olives. Imagine that.
Wow.
300 olives. And these aren't the olives that you're going to get at the store. These are premature olives, little baby olives that are loaded with polyphenols. These are powerful antioxidants that wrap around the omega-3s and bring them more effectively into our tissue, which is the issue. This bottle, when I call it a Mediterranean diet in a bottle, is equal to 30 piles of anchovies. Imagine that. 30 piles of anchovies and 300 olives. And all you have to do is take a simple shot every single day. And it's based on weight. It's the only omega-3 product in the world based on weight. So the system, we call it the balance concept. You test, you take, and then you test again. You test, you take, and you test again. You go from out of balance into balance. And you're going to think better.
Yes.
You're going to look better. You're going to feel better. And you're going to be better. So that's why we don't need to name any particular disease.
That's right.
I've been doing this my whole life. And people say, what about ... And my response is, does inflammation have anything to do with that?
Yes.
We know the answer. So instead of taking anti-inflammatories, and people are out there taking all kinds of botanical anti-inflammatories. Have you seen this, Apostle Alvin? Right? They're taking turmeric, which there's nothing wrong with turmeric, or cat's claw, or oregano, or white willow bark, or maybe even aspirin every day, or acetaminophen, or that's not what this is. This feeds the body what it needs to put out the fire. The only alternative to this is to eat, this is important, 2.5 cans of sardines a day. If you ate 2.5 cans of sardines a day on average every single day of your life, and you took this test, you would probably pass. But since most people don't, that's what a real dietary supplement it is.
Yes.
It supplements the diet. It's not a silver bullet. It's not a panacea. This oil, the balance oil, helps you build a better body on a cellular level.
Wow. Wow. Listen, I'll think about this from a mechanical level. When a car is out of balance, it goes down the road, it wears out the tire. The car is shaking real bad. And if you continue to let it be out of balance, it'll wear the tires out. And eventually you have to put new tires on it. You won't have a comfortable ride. And many of our bodies have been out of balance, and we need to get them in balance. And since we've gotten this information from the company, I'm telling you, Stuart, this information have gotten into my heart, is in my mind. I'm excited about what it's doing for me and what it's doing for my wife. And I'm just trying to get everybody to look at this. Just take a look at it, test, and don't guess. Get a hold of this information. That's why I brought Stuart on as the Omega Man. Give us a little background about the Omega Man, because I know you used to do this. You did it earlier, but just do it again so people can know that we're not flying by night.
Well, thank you very much, Apostle. I was very, very blessed to be the spokesperson and face of Nordic Naturals, the biggest omega-3 company in the world. And my job was to be the interface between the ivory tower and academia and sales and marketing. So I was the global educator. And I went all over the world and I taught people about the omega-6-3 balance. In fact, I handed out these kind of tests 18 years ago.
Wow.
When they were brand new, to executives at Whole Foods, GNC, and Vitamin Shop, and people weren't ready yet.
Wow.
They were not ready. When I would say to them, don't you want to start testing and stop guessing? I mean, how many people waste a fortune on dietary supplements?
Yes.
I know I have.
Yes.
And I think people would like to know if they work. So this was a very strategic way for us, when I was with Nordic Naturals, to differentiate ourselves from marketing or celebrity endorsement.
That's it.
And I personally am very excited about it being the end of celebrity endorsements. I mean, the way I see it is, in the not so distant future, on your phone, all of us will have an AI generated physician's assistant. And the physician's assistant will tell you, based on your blood work, that your omega-6-3 levels are out of balance and you need to eat more omega-3. You need to take something like Balance Oil. We also have an at-home vitamin D like David test. We have an A1C long-term blood sugar test. So it's our opinion that the future is test-based instead of guess-based. It's a huge turning point. And what I love about this is no one will be able to sell you anything. And that's not what we're trying to do today.
That's right.
We're trying to educate you, inspire you, and get you curious. If you could take a simple at-home test that would tell you how good your diet is, whether or not you're in the inflammatory zone or in the danger zone or the safe zone. I talked to a guy yesterday, Apostle Alvin. He took our little test. He got a score of 160 to 1.
No.
Okay. It was the highest
Wow.
I've ever seen omega-6 to omega-3. Now, here's what's interesting. He's super fit, totally healthy, extremely disciplined. He couldn't believe, how could he get this bad of a score? And he told me, well, Stuart, my wife and I, we go on these cruises. We bring our own food. I have my own cooking oil. And I get curious here because that's where the omega-6s come from.
Yes.
I said, sir, what kind of cooking oil do you use? We only use grapeseed oil, organic, fair trade grapeseed oil. I said, do you know that grapeseed oil has 688 times omega-6 to omega-3?
Wow.
So he was basically pouring omega-6 down his throat.
Yes.
And even though he looked healthy, we're talking about a measurement of silent inflammation. This isn't the kind that you necessarily feel, although it will help with that. So that was where the kind of the nickname came from. Over my life of working in the lipid space, all of my scientist friends, many that are working with Apostle Alvin, Deal, and myself now, they kind of lovingly called me Omega Man because they were clinicians or they were active scientists. And I was an educator, which meant that I just read papers all day long. And I will encourage anybody, go to Google, go to ChatGPT, type in, don't listen to anybody, look up omega-6-3 balance, omega-6-3 balance and chronic silent inflammation. And you will find data that will blow your mind. And then the data that we've collected, our organization has tested 1.5 million people.
Yes.
That's the biggest database in the world. And here's what we found. 99% of the people fail this test, including people that live in Japan, that are known for eating on average 200 pounds of seafood per person per year. Now, they get a better score than we do here in the United States. Let's be fair. Their average is 7 to 1. Our average is 25 to 1. But what's so stunning to me is that people around the world, wherever they live, go from out of balance into balance, and we're measuring the red blood cell. And this is something that you and I talked about, Apostle Alvin, when I first met you, okay? So I want to say it here on this show because it says underneath Faith Christian Center Church, right? And I can be a little bit more myself here, okay?
Yes.
The one thing that God connected us with completely, the unified field theory of all humans, is your red blood cell.
Mm-hmm.
Red blood, think about what that means. The blood.
The blood.
That is the one thing that is exactly the same
Yes.
in people all over the world. Now, there are genetic differences. There are genetic differences that some people eat Pam and Spam and ding dongs and chicken nuggets and Hoes and Krispy Kremes and respond to it differently.
Differently. Mm-hmm.
My friend who got 160 to 1, that's the most disciplined vegan I've ever met, he was eating grapeseed oil and cashews all the time and things that had omega-6, and it wasn't junk food. God put the omega-6s in the seeds and put the omega-3s in the greens. Think about that. When I first learned that, like 20 some odd years ago, it just blew my mind.
Wow.
And I sat there and I thought, do I eat enough greens to compensate all of the seeds and nuts and seed oils? And most people don't. Now, your body takes those greens or those seeds and then converts them into longer chain omega-6s and omega-3s. I don't want to be too technical here, but this measures all of them.
Yes.
11 different fatty acids. So when you get your report, you don't need to be a lipidologist. You don't need to be a lipid expert. It's very self-explanatory. When you got your results, were they easy for you to read, Apostle?
Very easy. I mean, very explainable. I wish I had it pulled up now because 18 to 1 danger zone. My wife, 20 to 1 danger zone. And I look down at the chart and it says 3 to 1 below, I'm in the safe zone. And to hear some of the testimony of people that are 1 to 9 or 1 to 8, oh, that's what I'm trying to get to, because inflammation, again, is a precursor for disease, but also a precursor for premature death. And so it's a risk factor there. So if you want to lower the risk, we need to get on this balance oil. I know I'm on it. I got my wife on it. My friends that have listened to me, they're getting on it because they're taking the test and say, listen, I don't want to have this silent killer inside of me taking me out, because God has a mission for all of us. And if we fulfill that mission, we are doing his plan. And so he told us to be steward over this body. No pun intended. We have steward on today. And so, but God told us to be a steward over this body, be a good steward. This is his temple. And the way to get his temple back into balance, I do believe that all good and perfect gifts come from the Father above. I do believe that God gave, what his name, Ola, is it Ola? The owner of the company.
Oren Sali.
I believe God gave that to him and brought this information to us so that now it's being disseminated throughout the population. And those that are willing to take the test and stop guessing, I guarantee you will be like I am, excited about knowing what's going on in your body and knowing you're doing something about it. Stuart, in our closing, I'm just so grateful and thankful for you being on with us today. And I have access to this wonderful, very knowledgeable in this space. So at any time, you that are listening out there, if you want to, get in touch with me, my number is 864-337-6400. Yes, I put it out there publicly around the world because I'm just that passionate about that, because we want you healthy. And Stuart, will you have the last words to let people know that Xeno test-based nutrition is going to be number one in a few years?
Yes, we've got a plan and we're going to get there. Our mission is to become the biggest personalized nutrition company in the world, to measurably move the dial on public health globally and make the world a healthier, safer, and saner place. Let's face it, we're all going to die. And those that want to put it off a little bit longer or live healthier while they're alive, we can help you achieve your goals. This may or may not be for you.
That's right.
But if you want to start testing and stop guessing and find out whether or not you're in the danger zone or you're in the safe zone, I'm so kind of you, Apostle, for you to give out your phone number. We have a regular call every Tuesdays and Wednesdays. You can reach Apostle Alvin Deal and he'll give you the information. I host a call with 2 longevity researchers that have degrees from Cornell. They've been to 80 blue zones around the world. We explain everything about the test, everything about the oil, and what we're doing. We're looking for people to help us take this message all over the world. The World Health Organization says 6.3 billion people are deficient. So anywhere you are in the world, people are out of balance. After 120 days, they get back into balance. So thank you so much for letting me share this time with you. And it's such an honor to walk with you, Apostle Alvin Deal, and to work with you.
Thank you, Stuart. We're just so grateful again. And I'm just excited about getting this message. We had a few little difficulties at the beginning, but nevertheless, we got her done. And we're excited about it. And again, I want to share with everyone that will be listening to this video. Listen, call us, get in touch with us. You know where we at. The information will be on your screen. So I'm excited about you testing instead of guessing. And test-based nutrition going to be the #1 thing around the world. So get involved right now. And like Stuart said, we're looking for partners. We're looking for those that will want to know about what's going on inside the body. Again, we're not dealing with feeling, but I know how I feel. I'm just to have this knowledge about my health at this time. So Stuart, again, thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing that information with us today. Any closing words?
My pleasure. Just God bless you. And it's such an honor to know you. And we hope to see you on one of our calls. And I hope to be back on your show at some point in the future.
All right. Thank you, Stuart. Bye-bye.